Hello students, let me start off with the sixth and the last video of the chapter Diversity in Living Organisms. Today I will be explaining to you about classification and the system of classification, the rules that we follow, and also the flow chart explaining the animal kingdom. First of all, let us discuss the flow chart that helps to identify the different groups coming under the animal kingdom. The kingdom Animalia is divided on the basis of cellular level of organization and tissue level of organization. Under cellular level of organization, we have the group Porifera, and under tissue level of organization, we have, again, the criteria is no body cavity between epidermis and gastrodermis. Under this category comes Coelenterata and Platyhelminthes. And the category which has a false body cavity, that is pseudocoelom, comes the Nematoda, and true body cavity, that is coelomate. Under that, again we have two different categories, that is Mesodermal cells from a single cell during growth of the embryo. Under this category comes Annelida, Mollusca and Arthropoda. Coelom formed from pouches pinched off from the endoderm. This is again divided into two: notochord absent, notochord present. Under notochord absent comes the echinodermata, and notochord present we have the chordata. Now chordata, under chordata again, notochord present in at least larval forms, but very rudimentary. Example, or under that group comes the protochordata, and notochord replaced by vertebral column in adults. Under this comes the vertebrata. Now vertebrata is again divided into cyclostomata. They do not have an exoskeleton. They are jawless vertebrates and they breathe through gills. Next comes the species exoskeleton made of scales, endoskeleton bone or cartilage, breathing organ is gills. They are cold-blooded and they lay eggs. Next, amphibia, gills found in the larval stage. Later on they breathe through lungs, slimy skin provided with mucus glands. They lay eggs in water. They are cold-blooded. Again, they have a three-chambered heart. Pisces, it is two-chambered. Next is the reptilia. Exoskeleton made of scales. They lay eggs on the land, which is covered by a tough leathery covering. They breathe through gills. They have a three-chambered heart, cold-blooded. Exception is crocodile. Next is this aves. Exoskeleton made of feathers. They lay eggs covered with a hard shell, usually calcium carbonate. They have an aerial habitat. They are warm-blooded. They lay eggs. They have a four-chambered heart. The last one is Mammalia. Exoskeleton of hairs, external ears or earlobe or pinna, mostly give birth to young ones. They are warm-blooded, four-chambered heart. So that is the gist of classification of the animal kingdom. Now let us move on to the rules of classification. Classification means grouping organisms into different categories for better understanding. Classification was, as we have studied, there are various types of classification, but the father of classification is Carlos Linnaeus. He wrote a book called Systemae Naturae. And the system of classification is known as Binomial Nomenclature. That means scientific system of naming organisms by two names, binomial, by two names. The two names are the generic and the specific name. So students, why do we need such a system? Because different organisms are known by different names in different languages. And you know that we are not aware of all the languages. So there should be a common name by which scientists or zoologists or botanists can understand about the organism. That is why this system was introduced of naming the organisms scientifically, properly and methodically. Each organism is identified by two names. It has a generic name and a specific name. The generic name, now let us focus on the rules. First thing, a scientific name consists of two words. The generic name and the specific name. Generic name comes first, followed by the specific name. The generic name is always starting with capital letter. The specific name with small letter, and they are not written together, they are written separately. If it is in printed form, it should be always printed in italics. But if it is written, both the words should be separately underlined. See the names. The name of the species begins with small letter, while the name of the genus begins with capital letter. And this word was originally, all the scientific names are originally derived from Latin. So these are some of the rules that have to be followed while writing a scientific name. A generic name always comes first, followed by a species name. For example, let us take the case of human beings. Human beings are known as Homo sapiens. So Homo represents the genus and sapiens represents the species. So Homo, H-O-M-O, H should start with capital letter, and sapiens, S should be written with small letter. Now if we are writing in our notebook or during our exam or in a paper, we have to underline the words Homo and sapiens separately. But if we are typing on our computer, then this two words should be separately typed and it should be represented in italics. For example, lion. Lion is known as Leo pantheris. Then we have tiger, Leo tigris. So then peacock, Pavo cristatus. Hibiscus is known as Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Potato, Solanum tuberum. Like that, each and green, then the garden pea, that is known as Pisum sativum.